Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases. Hello, everyone. Glad you're able to join me tonight. Mrs. Steve is in there in another room. She'll be modding in the background. But I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. We'll have a presentation, and as I go through the presentation, I'll stop, go through chat, acknowledge my supporters, and if you have any questions, just throw them in there in chat. And while you're in chat, be mindful and be respectful of the families, mods, and each other. We stay away from a lot of the names and everything other than what names are included in some legal documents. But tonight we're looking at there's a lot of focus placed upon the Franks motion that was filed, and we have the response by the prosecutor. And as you can see in the title, as far as I was concerned, there was nothing surprising in it that the prosecutor didn't jump in there and say, "Got me." But anyway, we'll be looking at that. I'll give you some of my viewpoints on that. But before we get started in that, as always, if you have any information on this case, absolutely make sure that law enforcement has it, for the fact that we are in the middle or heading towards a trial that's rapidly approaching, and law enforcement, prosecution, defense, everyone needs as much information that if there's any out there that's that's in the background that you alone may know or you have heard of, absolutely make sure law enforcement has it, for the fact that we have to have justice on this case. And the only way justice can be found is if all the information is out there. That being said, we're going to look a little bit about Mcleland and some of his responses to it. Now, as always, if you're part of my community, you know that I do the Cliff Note version of all the documents. I don't go in there. There's a lot of great creators that go in there that they'll read it to you line by line, analyze it, break it down. I try to focus on pretty much just the same as I do with a book or a movie. The first 5 minutes or the first page, and then pretty much each chapter heading, I can pretty well tell what's going on, and or index, and then I go to the conclusion or final page. Mrs. Steve, she just shakes her head at me sometimes when I'll come in and watch a movie for a few minutes, and then I won't come back until the end. But anyway, and so some of the highlights as I read through the document of the response by the prosecution, like I said, there was no shocking things in there, but there was clear understanding as far as the prosecutor saying that from his perspective, the defense went in there with a broad brush of creative interpretations, misinterpretation, misinformation, which, of course, the defense is going to deny. There won't be any surprise there. We have two sides of this story, and the truth is in there between the two. And so we have to look at that, and that's where we're going to head with this. And it's quite interesting how each side in these round one, round two, round three square off that either we're so polarized that if you're on the prosecution side, that you are absolutely everything pro prosecution and Richard Allen. And if you're on the defensive side for Richard Allen, you're absolutely 100% that all this uh, bravado and stance by the prosecution is bull, and that Richard Allen is absolutely innocent. And I could not be happier with this polarization that we have in this case, for the fact that it does guarantee that we are going to have a trial, that the world's watching, and there will be an understanding, and everything will be sorted out in the courts. Now, will everybody at the moment of judgment, of when that jury steps in there and says, hey, guilty or not guilty? And for the fact the prosecution does have a big hill to climb and prove that he is guilty, because he's considered innocent until that prosecution puts all this evidence that, and in this, as I've talked about in other cases and documents as we went through them, that when you look at the headings and you look at certain parts of the statements that's made, this is the parts that will be in front of that jury. This is why we're having these hearings now, that either the prosecution feels very secure in certain aspects of this, and the defense is going to have to be getting some experts to attack it. And, there's been quite a bit of hollering that we need money for some experts. And is there a reason for that? And I believe so, that for the defense, that they're trying to find someone that's going to be able to overcome some of the experts by the state, for the fact that the jury will give a great deal of weight to if there's an FBI agent who's an expert in a certain field, such as the Geo Fencing or the cell data, and these experts that come to the and testify for the state. There's a powerful image there. But also, as I've had in a previous show when we were talking about when the defense had that law enforcement officer, Investigator Click, who is more, does open up the door that he believes there was others involved. Doesn't mean that Richard Allen wasn't involved, but he does believe others involved. So we're going to get to the truth at some point. But now, with that being said, let's look at some of the information. Of course, we got the opening page of the of what's going on here. Before I get into that, let's go, before I get too far behind, and see if anything's happening in chat. And I won't get caught up with that first. Don Spain. What? Oh, okay. That's all right. I got it.
I got a minute for your show.
Okay.
Or you got my computer?
Mm-hmm. All right. But anyway, we let's get back into chat. Mrs. Steve walked in. Oh, man. Let's get back into it. Let's see here. But Don Spain says that he is going to be going to Delphi tomorrow. When you get there, absolutely pay attention, and I know you will. And have a moment of silence for us, and we appreciate it, for the fact that our thoughts and prayers are with the families and everything. And it's absolutely the evil that happened there, regardless of who the offender is, that community suffered from this. But I'm glad you're able to go there, Don. And Mitzi Scott's here. CJK. Debbie, Peggy, good to see you. Everybody's up on coffee. Good. Mustang 65. If you got any questions, I hope I don't miss any of them. Hello, Copper Horse. Good to see you. Molly. Let's see. Try not, as I just got back, for people that's jumping in here that haven't been here for a while. I just got back from a long month on the road, but I'm glad to be back.
Check your phone.
It's over there. You can go get your. Oh man,
Is this mine?
that's your work computer.
Where's yours?
The phone's right there,
Where's your computer?
right here.
Where's my computer?
It's under here.
Well, it's set for members only, and I can't fix it without that.
All right, but Barbara Hall, 199. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. All righty. Let's see what's going on here. Let me go into and see what's happening here on the YouTube side. She said that she thought it was members only, and I don't think that's the case, but we'll go check right quick. And I'm sorry for the, like I said, we're still trying to get back into everything here. And let's see. But we'll get back into it here in just a second. No, I don't. We got 90 watching, so I don't think it's not members only. All right. Okay. All right. We'll just proceed with it, and we'll go with it. And but anyway, appreciate it, Barbara. Like I said, there's your blue light. Thank you for your support. And if y'all don't know who Barbara is, she is the mother of Timmy Dees, who's been fighting for justice for that case for a long time. And let's see here. And all right, let's get back into this. We got it all straightened out now, I think. But the prosecuting attorney state's response to the defense third motion for the Franks hearing, they come in here and they state that they're talking about that the defense is saying that Liggett misled the judge and purposefully, and with that, it caused a great miscarriage of justice by allowing everything that has progressed the case to this point. And that this information was included to the court, and that for the search warrant, and that it shouldn't have been done, so that Liggett misrepresented what information he had. And of course, the state isn't going to admit or even allow such an attack to occur, and this is the response to it. And like I said, there's no surprise here that you're going to have where the state's going to defend the law enforcement aspect of this, what's coming up with this, where it's heading, and what's going on with it. All right. And then, of course, we have the other part that we're talking about with the Geo Fencing and with the professor that comes out of some of the information and everything that the defense has said and quoted as far as causing misrepresentation. The state, of course, is doing the exact same thing, opposite of what the defense is saying. They each blaming that the other one is misrepresenting what the information is, withholding evidence, and it's just typical stuff that goes on. But the first issue, like I said, is that Tony Liggett failed to make the judge aware that geofencing data showed at least 3 persons in and around the crime scene at the time of the murders. And I have some firsthand knowledge about how phones interact there. If y'all remember some of my other shows in the past when I went and there, Mrs. Steve and I met with Purdue RN, and Randy Gravitt, and traveled to the location and did some testing at night everywhere along the trail and including the crime scene. And I have to absolutely agree with the state's representation of what their experts and what their understanding is. And I have no idea if what occurred to me that night is what they're explaining here, for the fact that if you go back and you look at my presentation, you'll see where I talk about that as Mrs. Steve would hit find my phone, and we would bring up certain, she would do it every few minutes to every few seconds, just depending at whatever random moment she was. And from that, she was able to see that, and she was screenshot what was occurring, and you would see that I would be sometimes I'd be in exact location. It would pin me exactly where I was at, and then sometime it would put me 100 yards away, 500 yards, 5 miles away somewhere. And so exactly what if you look at what is being described occurring by the prosecutor in here is the exact things that occurred to me when we did our testing. And so now I don't know if it's falls within the what they're going to be testifying to, but made sense to me, and I can see no fault. And I understand that exactly, they said from 3 to 15 meters at some moments that it can't, and then it may jump you to 15 to 100 meters, and then of course it can take you out to 1,000. And so I absolutely, this did not surprise me at all, and hence part of the name of this is that everything that I've seen in this response, either through my own testing, traveling to the location, understanding crime scene, that there's nothing that shocked me as far as the Frank's motion, other than the statement made by the defense. But the response from the prosecution is absolutely well within. Oh, man. All right, let me get caught back up in chat here. Let's see here. Oh, man. Get Mrs. Steve. I didn't know I had both computers. So, but anyway, we'll get it straightened out. All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's see if we got any questions in here yet. Okay, I'm caught back up with that. Sensei's in here. Good to see you. This will do nicely. And you're right. This is extremely part of it. And like I said, why do we have to claim sides? It's, I think it's just part of our, the way of our makeup and the way that we, even when you go, the competitiveness of fighting for justice, that some people are pro law enforcement, some people are pro defense, and I wish we didn't choose sides, but I kind of am glad that we do, for the fact that those on each side fight hard for their cause, and I believe in that. We should fight hard for each cause. So I'm not really too upset that they choose sides. Olivia too, good to see you. Metal Mama, good to see you. Hello, Bama Sin. Good to see you also. And yes, Molly, you're correct at this, that the different opinions, but some people, has our society drifted away from the ability to have differing opinions and be able to debate those. Now, up in Georgia, you go to a barber shop and you'll see some of the older generation sitting there, and you would think that they're going to be pulling out knives and bats and guns at any moment. But then they shake their a haircut and walk out the door and go have a cup of coffee like nothing's ever happened. But at moments in there, some of those heated discussions from the older generation, we can learn a lot from. And, that we all take it for what it is, and nobody's out there to hurt your feelings. This will do nicely. Mustang 65. Let's see. And yes, CJK, I'm looking forward to hear his perspective when he gets back. Absolutely. Send me an email, Don. I'd appreciate that. Colleen, good to see you. Yes, Mrs. Steve was fearful that she had put it for members only, but that's not the case. Oh, okay. Look here. Bama sent $20. So thankful you had a safe trip and pray it was productive. Yes, we had an extremely productive trip. Been talking to some of the family since I got back, and it was a good trip. And Mitzi has been a member for 13 months. Thank you for your support. Let me see if I can get my head out of the way of the blue light. Oh, Don Spain is now a new member. Thank you. Appreciate your support, Don. Let's see here. You're working your way to the criminal profile, remember? That's funny right there. Sharon Edwards, good to see you. Just trying to... let's see here. Okay. Getting caught up there. All right. But anyway, like I said, we had that one. Now the sticks. As far as the surprises on the sticks, there were certain people that obtained or they were sent images. I don't know how many people out there have seen them. And of course, the prosecution, you don't hear them talking much about it, other than for the court and for the, trying to hold the defense in contempt. And so hopefully all of that will fade out. But from those images, we see in the response that when the prosecution addresses it, we can read some information from when through the interview process of the professor who looked at the crime scene images, the sticks, the placement of, and it's extremely important that we understand this. And that when Holman interviewed him and showed him, and you'll see that the defense has a total different view and declaration of what those sticks were versus what the defense or the prosecution says through their interview process and speaking to the professor of what his understanding of what the sticks are. While both of them say that the sticks were placed, prosecution and the defense, that they absolutely do not have a parallel understanding of exactly what those sticks mean. And we see that if this professor comes to the stand, this is what he's going to testify to. Now, that doesn't mean that the defense won't find an expert that can come to the stand and give his viewpoints and his opinion of what those sticks are, what do they mean, and how they will impact the jury, and is it some type of ritual? And I absolutely believe the placements of the sticks were a ritual. But now there's a lot of, when I say ritual, that I'm going from the standpoint as someone who's worked crime scenes and seen individuals commit a crime and take extra steps that's not needed for that crime, that they're doing something self-serving to themselves in the placement of these sticks, and that the sticks mean something to them. It's a ritual they have. Does this mean that they may have other victims? Absolutely possible. Does this mean that this is something that they would do in the future if they have more victims? Absolutely possible. But they went through this ritual for some reason. For the fact that we are in a high stress situation, it's not something that a human every day goes out and performs two horrible, horrific homicides and then has the presence of mind of placing sticks in certain orders for whatever reason and for whatever meaning. And when you see the professor says that, to summarize his findings, he said they were inconclusive. In his opinion, he thought the sticks were placed deliberately, but was unsure what they meant. He said that some educational guesses are in his report, and he asked him if the Odin religion practiced ritualistic sacrifices, and he said no. There's no evidence or research indicates that religion practicing of sacrifices. He told that if someone Google search, they may find that the Vikings were accused of those types of sacrifices, but there was no proof of it. Now, will they be able to go out there and probably find an expert in ancient sacrifices? Probably so. Do I expect that may occur? If this is the defense way they're going to go, absolutely they will. While the prosecution has mentioned that they don't suggest for the defense to bring this expert on, I don't think that they will. I think they will have their own expert on this and take the case forward with their own expert versus someone that if this is his opinion, and this opinion is on paper, there's not much argument for it. I mean, the defense, they're not going to just beat that dead horse over and over trying to break him when it's so much simpler to go out and find an expert that is on your side and will support your theory of it is some type of sacrifice conducted by multiple offenders with certain cult uses of sacrifices of humans. But will they find that person or that expert? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. Let's see what else we got going on in chat. Oh, Mitzi Scott. To celebrate my year here, Copper Horse gifted my first membership. Thank you, Mitzi. That's very kind of you. Appreciate your support. And this is very profound, Debbie. I'm not pro LE or pro defense. I'm pro facts. Well said, well stated. So I try very hard to stay neutral until closing arguments at trial. And I look forward that when we get to that to hear which way, what was the thing that started tilting your opinion one way or the other. Now we may see that. But I'm interested in that. That was well stated. Colleen, do you think the trial will begin by May the 13th? No. I will be shocked. I will be shocked if it does. But thank you for being a member for 6 months. And Peggy also is neutral. And once again, I look forward to that date. I hope it does start at the earliest moment that we can get this going into the courts, so that we can have justice. But as we go through this and we have our shows, I'm looking forward to those moments of where people have those, moments of something clicking. And what will that be, and when will that be? So May the 13th, that would be interesting. Olivia too. I'm not going to say that you're psychic for the fact that we've seen all the fuss and arguments for how long now. When the arrest was first made, it was all just absolutely one-sided. And then we saw the trickle effect of this wave coming of defending and giving the benefit of the doubt and looking at some of the miscues by law enforcement and what created that. Did YouTube play a huge part in that? Absolutely. That without YouTube, would we have this great argument? No, I do not believe so. But I foresee that you are 100% correct, Olivia. Too, when the trial starts, it will get heated. Oh man. And I am disappointed in that. I sure wish we could see and hear what would be happening in the courtroom. I am extremely disappointed in that, and hopefully clearer heads will prevail. Don't seem like it, but CJK says that, and this is great information. There are 3 memorial walks starting tomorrow. Tabitha starting at 5:30 in Tipton. Saturday on the Monon High Bridge at Abbey and Libby, and Sunday Crown Hill Cemetery for Flora. Thank you for that information, CJK. And I hope that this is something that they do, that it's delayed for the fact that would solve a lot of the issues, and I hope that is the case. But Molly says Go has denied several media outlets who filed requests to stream, but she hasn't ruled on the streaming filming of the trial. She may want the court to film it and delay release a few hours. I hope that is the case. Let's see. That is very kind of you. When the trial starts, I'll take notes like a juror would and email you my thoughts. And absolutely, I may even open up and have some of the people that attend the trial to speak and give us our thoughts daily. That'd be something interesting. CJK, I'm the same way. It's great when people can truly be neutral. I haven't seen much of that and admit that I'm not. My career has placed a bias on me that I put so much trust in those affidavits and other officers swearing to a judge. What did it mean to raise your hand and swear that what you're providing information to that judge and that search warrant, that affidavit, arrest warrant, doesn't matter, that you've been there yourself and you understand the process and what it means for the fact that whatever officer has that paper in hand, they're going to go out and serve it and do it to the fullest extent of their ability. And I mean, you're asking people to go out and enforce rules of the land, laws of the land, and have the standing of the court and of what you've sworn to uphold. And so I have a bias that when I read that, I kind of, there's no denying that. So, but I still tried to be open, and I'm critical of law enforcement. You have to be, because there are certain times and things happen out there that, or there are certain officers that have no value, or they don't value what they tell. Absolutely. This will do nicely. You always feel that the Florida girls get overlooked. You're absolutely correct. They do. It's sad. All right, let's get back into this. Then on the with Professor interview about the what did the sticks mean, they harp on it and harp on it, and the prosecution absolutely says that it was misrepresentative, and they did everything that they've done is to promote um, their theory that it was committed by a cult, pagan group, ritualistic sacrifice by multiple offenders. And there's no surprise there. Absolutely. You can read the motion and the release of, and what was the storyline that the defense was pushing. And it's relatively clear. They're putting that storyline out there, trying to build momentum, and they have absolutely something that if you told me on day 2 of the from the time that Richard Allen was arrested, of where we would be today, and the shenanigans that have gone on in the court before the Supreme Court of Indiana, the stepping down of his defense team, and then the reinstatement of his defense team. No one, if you ran a book of odds to Las Vegas, no one would hit the trifecta of being able, if you had a bingo card, just think how many different things have happened to this case, and how many different combinations on a bingo card that you could do for the Delphi case. That, I have that one. And absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like it. And because we saw it every step of the way, that no matter what we thought was going to happen on a specific court date, something else just absolutely jumped up and bit us out of nowhere. So it was absolutely an amazing thing. And so even through these documents by the response of the prosecution, and that's the only thing that I found that there was no surprises in it. Whereas we've seen so many other surprises in this case, that was the main headline to me, is that we have a document with nothing that surprises me. And so I found that quite shocking and soothing at the same time. And but in the conclusion part of this, and like I said, there's nothing in here that is shocking. It's everything is matter of fact, laid down, that this is what we have. That we have the prosecutor saying that if you read through this, that it takes someone with specialized knowledge to interpret the Geo Fencing data. Sheriff Liggett relied on the evidence that when he drafted the affidavits, everything from the prosecution's side of the story is, it all is well within line of and understanding, and within the laws of the land and Constitution, that they didn't violate anything, and therefore everything should be moving forward with the trial. We're basically 40 something, close to around 40 days from trial now. So it's absolutely something that it won't be long. And then you go on that talking about lying about evidence, probable cause affidavit support, and that there was efforts to mislead the judge. The prosecution absolutely denies. There's no inaccuracies or omissions in the probable cause for the search warrant that are of a material nature, and the defense argument that law enforcement dishonestly is pervasive and relates back to the affidavit in question is not supported by sworn statements, affidavit, or other reliable statements. And in a nutshell, that's all it is, guys. That from my standpoint, nothing was shocking. Nothing stands out. It's just the prosecution taking their stance that we've done it by the book. It's the best evidence. It's what we have. And the misinterpretation occurred by the defense. Now, the defense, of course, is not going to go easy into the night. And now, how will they fight this? I can't wait to see. There's going to be some type of hearing. There's going to be some type of response. There's going to be something that pops up that will surprise all of us. And it will get out into the YouTube. And once again, we've got 40 days of where people will look at these things and tear it apart word by word and overanalyze. The courts will sort it out, guys. There's nothing that I'm worried about with this. Like I said in one of my previous shows, my biggest concern is that with Richard Allen, and it's not really a concern but it is that the defense has a huge playing card and a huge hand with the investigator that has these other suspects. Doesn't mean that Richard Allen wasn't involved, but that is going to play a major role in this, in the trial. I don't care, anything else. That's going to play a huge part in this. All right. Someone talked about that maybe delayed stream, but I don't know. I don't know how sorted out it has been. And just going through chat, see if we got anything else. Yes. Will anyone be live streaming from the walks? Yes, I would imagine that will happen, especially with Delphi, hopefully with Flora, and with Tabitha. I don't know. Last I heard, they were had quite a bit of funding in that, and it is interesting, but all's fair. Yeah, let's see. Just going through. Oh, Nightbot's working hard tonight. True Crime Way. In your experience, how much jury tampering goes on with trials? Very little. And for the fact that now, if you talk about organized crime back in the day, that's one thing. Now, if you're talking about an individual that goes into a jury pool and does certain things as far as tampering from the inside, we have seen some instances of that, of where someone will go into the jury pool and as an individual that has and will misrepresent their knowledge of the crime and their openness to the evidence. I think that's more of what we see now than whereas you have organized crime coming in, tampering with or the so-called corruption of law enforcement and the judicial system. But we see it more on, this is my personal opinion, as far as just individual that get in there and they want to be one of the 12 and make sure that at a minimum there's a hung jury or something, or they carry it even further. So, we've seen some cases of that, but I'm trying to think if I ever saw it in any case I was ever involved in, and I can't place it. Yeah, Bama Sin, I'm with you. That's that's huge right there. Really is that Click's testimony would show reasonable doubt unless state can debunk his investigation. Because if he's committed to that and they can get him up there, it's going to be a huge hill to climb. Absolutely. All right. Olivia, too. I want to hear every phone call BG made. Well, at some point, they're available. And I don't know how much that would cost you, but it would be public record at some point. Oh. CJK, is Click really credible? Well, I mean, if he's a law enforcement officer in good standing, still employed, and has no record of any type of court issues and testifying, creating false testimony, committing perjury, and if that's what he believes, that's what he believes. And so, there's a lot to be said for that. And, I can't argue either way, because I do not have a full understanding of who and how and what evidence he looked at and what has put him into position that he's surprised, and what does he know. Now, the state, of course, is they'll have to be prepared to try to overwhelm whatever his stance is, and I believe that they think they have that. But as far as being credible, I would assume that he will be, because if he's not credible and the state has any of that information of where he's committed or he's perjured himself in the past, then he's cooked. He's done. He'll have some of the things like we saw in the OJ trial. And I agree with Molly that this is something that, regardless of what anyone brings in there, it doesn't mean that RA wasn't involved. And so that's probably where we're going to go. But anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody being here. I got called up, and we appreciate everybody's support. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank y'all for being here. Sorry about the computer mess up there, but we got it fixed and got everything going out. But y'all stay safe out there. We'll see you soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share. We appreciate everybody's support. And before I get out of here, let me make sure that I go through all the support that we had tonight. Barbara Hall, Bama Sin, $20. Thank you. This will do nicely for 18 months. Appreciate it. Mitzi Scott, 13 months. Don Spain is a new member. Mitzi Scott, $20 for your first year here. Appreciate it. And Colleen, a member for 6 months. Appreciate all y'all support. Means a lot to this channel. Couldn't do what we do without y'all. But anyway, like I said, y'all stay safe out there, and we'll see y'all soon, guys.